Spacey Sims, and we're back with more Cafe Enchante, and we'll see if I'm as pissed off in this part as I was in the last one. Look, it's just bad writing to me that she, I mean, again, like I said multiple times, if it's a matter of angel or fairy of death is translated literally into English, but in Japanese it could have been read differently, where you might be questioning it, I can understand that. But then I really do wish that the people translating it would think this shit through, because it just makes it sound really stupid when she keeps hearing fairy of death, fairy of death. I don't understand why. Really? Like, you know what I mean? And I mean, I know I have to think of these things sometimes when reading the games, that like, it could just be the translation being kind of poor, where you're like, why does this doesn't sound right, or this is irritating. Oh, okay, well, they didn't translate it exactly as it should have been. Fine. But it's like, God, then just get better with translating so that it doesn't, so I'm not sitting here raging at this game for making the MC a complete moron. Like, hello? Because it's aggravating. I have no tolerance for stupid MCs. We know this. I've bitched about them in the past. And she's been great up until this moment where it's like, are you kidding me? Anyway. So, let's just see if the rest of this chapter is going to piss me off still. So, we're going to see. Anyway. After that, Candace and I talk about a lot of things. Anyways, is something going on? It is odd for us to be alone like this. I swallow hard to try and moisten my nervously dry throat. Spacey? Candace, do you recognize this place? You mentioned earlier that this is where the fairies pranked. No, it's not about that. Something more recent. I finally decide to confront him. What happened to the fairy that you disposed of here? The moment I ask him, Candace's demeanor changes, and he's suddenly nervous, because he doesn't want you to see that, he doesn't want you to know that that's what he does, you know what I mean? By dispose of, you mean... It seems like Candace is trying to play dumb, but I think it's pretty obvious. On the way home from Titania's tea party, Il and I happened to come by here. We saw you and tried to get your attention. Then... I mean, I can understand him, like, not wanting to tell you, but, again, you know. We saw you kill a fairy at this very spot. I just couldn't wrap my head around you killing a fairy that was crying in fear. I don't know why this happened. Sorry, I'm raging so hard on the inside. Yes, you do. So if there's a reason, I'd like to know. You've been told multiple times. Just the reason why someone as gentle as you had to go and do such a thing. And the purpose of it. That is, as I keep talking, Candace, who isn't very talkative, seems unable to change the subject. Candace, you promised me, didn't you? Let him get a word in edgewise, Jesus. That since I can't see your face, you'll vocalize your pains and feelings as much as possible. So, I want you to tell me. Then, it was necessary. In order to protect the fairy world. Candace responded quietly, yet with a tone of importance. Protect the fairy world? Right. To protect the fairy world is the duty I have been given. My purpose in this world is to be the fairy of death. What? It's not like we haven't heard this before. I swear to God. I was gonna say, I swear to God, if she flashes back to the 2 times she's been told that, I'm gonna walk away. The fairy of death. Why must such a daunting presence exist in the fairy world? To put it frankly, the nature of this world requires it. Fairies lack a clear concept of death. They are each blessed with eternal life. Some even live for thousands of years. However, during this eternal life, the fairy population will grow, and Medea will become overpopulated, causing distress to this fairy world. I'm sure we're supposed to be reading this in Candace's voice, but like, whatever. This is why, just as fairies are given life, it is equally necessary to bring death. Oh, yeah, we were. We're supposed to be read. That is my duty. We're supposed to read that in Candace's voice, but whatever. We'll go to that part. We'll switch back now. you never know. Sometimes it's like a narrator voice kind of telling, and then sometimes it's them. So I wasn't really sure. Sorry. Anyway, from the moment I was born, I have been destined to bring death to my fellow fairies. That is the fairy of death. Canis Espada. See, that is the fairy of death. Canis, and that is almost like it's not, but I guess that is the fairy of death. Canis Espada says your name. Like, weird. To kill fairies is to fulfill my duty. The fairy of death. Canis was born to kill fairies? Alright. Okay. She's like, oh, wow, I had no idea, despite being told twice. So what I saw was you trying to control the overpopulation? That too, but it is also to prevent an imminent threat. Threat? In this peaceful world of fairies? What do you mean by threat? Do not worry, this has nothing to do with you. It's his usual voice, but I sense doubt in his tone. As long as I do what I must, Medea will be free of danger, and you will be able to visit safely. And so, you should not be too concerned about it. In the human world, killing is a sin, but in the fairy world, it is a necessity. I mean... yeah, okay. He's basically the fairy's version of a Grim Reaper, right? He's just a literal physical embodiment of death. But death in the human world is a necessity too. People die. We just don't like... You just decide if you want to kill your neighbor. No! You let death, natural, or via accidents, whatever, that happens. It's a force of nature, right? Death exists as a part of nature. He's just a literal physical embodiment of death. So if the Grim Reaper actually existed, some dude with a scythe running around like, okay, time to take you out, like, that's all Canis is. So it's like, you're not really killing fairies, like, wantonly murdering them. You are literally going, okay, my job is to be death, which, again, we don't have a physical representation of, in the human world. So it's like, she can't really be... It's weird, because you're like, huh, we don't really have job descriptions like that, so it's a little hard to process, but... And I can understand being like, I gotta wrap my head around it, but... I can never speak to you again, you murderer! He's not a fucking serial killer, it's his fucking job. Like, you're in another world, there are fairies flying around, there is a fairy that's literally tethered to a fucking tree. I think you'd be able to wrap your head around this after a few minutes, anyway. You need some time, sure, but... Those were the same words Mr. Rindo said to me. Different worlds hold different values. Yeah, but again, it's not even a different value. Death happens. You're not literally talking about someone just walks up and stabs you like, okay, cool. That's different than nature has decided that it's your time to go and you die in your sleep or whatever. Like, is it fair? Like, why did I get cancer? And like, no, but death happens. It's a natural thing. All he's doing is being the natural. So it just kind of aggravates me when they do things like different worlds hold different values. No, you could be mad at Ignis if he was out there slaughtering other beast people, right? Because then it would be like, it's a different value. Yes, that's different. This is Canis's job. He's literally just a force of nature. Like you're gonna be pissed at Karia because he makes ice? Oh my god, different values. No, it's just snow happens via science and shit in our world, and Karia is the one that does, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, if he were the one in charge of bringing in winter, like, you're not gonna get pissed at him for it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't like the way they handled this. It's aggravating, because it's like, it's not a different value. Like, he just has the job of being a Grim Reaper, which is basically an invisible force in the human world, if you really want to think of it that way. Like, in other words, what you saw was merely in daily life. But the reason why I can't just let it go isn't because the act of killing, but you say it's daily life. But why is it that you're in such pain? Okay, I give her props for this, not being mad about like, I can't believe you do that. It's like, but if that's your job, why are you so sad about it? He's like, because it sucks. As if he was choking on something, his painful tone of voice inevitably worries me. I give her props for the way she handled it. Being presented with it, not how the game handled making her an idiot, but how she's over dramatic how we would normally do it. She's like, yeah, but I mean, it's your job and you have to do it, but you're miserable. Okay. Whether I am or not, you can't even see my face, can you? No, I can't, but I can still tell. Because I've spent so much time with you at Enchante. So, I know when you're suffering. That you're in pain. That you're in agony. And I told you in the past that I will speak more openly about my feelings. And so I am telling you now, doing what I must does not hurt me. But, with that said... CG? Oh! I love how they do this, like we're supposed to look at... Oh, look at his perplexed face! He has no head. Look at me, Spacey. It's hard when you take your helmet off. I don't know where your eyes might be. As I try to plead with him, Canis takes off his helmet and cuts me off. Can you see it? You cannot. And can you see what my face looks like right now as I talk? Well, this is what separates you and I. The separator between humans and non-humans. I feel like now you're trying to push us away. Are you in pain? Are you suffering? It is nonsense, and that is just your imagination. Besides, I have never asked of you, a human, to understand such a thing. Yeah, he sounds like he's being a little bitchy right now. Do not forget, I am a non-human. I am from a world you do not understand. Canis continues to bombard me with reality checks, and I'm speechless. Okay, now if she gets a little, like, miffy, I can understand, because now it's like, but I can tell you're, like, it bothers you. But it does. Like, he's very sensitive, and you kind of got the impression that it bothered him from the chapter with Titania and Venia, like, when we first met them, and they were like, yeah, everybody doesn't like him, like, because, you know, he's the fairy of death, whatever. So, like, we're like, no, but it bothers you, and he's like, no, it doesn't, I'm totally fine. I like fairies, like, you're not totally fine, but he doesn't want to, like... I mean, you may have accepted that this is your reality and this is your job, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are thrilled about it, you know what I mean? Human logic does not apply here. Human lifestyles do not belong here. You and I, at the end of the day, have one single connection. Enchante. So, please do not interfere any further. At least, that is how Lord Sohan was. Enchante, that place, warmly welcomed customers, but didn't interfere with people's matters. That is the Enchante we desire. That is why I frequent the cafe. So, please do not do anything to change that. A clear-cut rejection. And that's exactly it. He's pushing you away, but he was the one that was, like, getting a little, like, kind of romantic-y with you in the first chapter. And a painful reality. What Canis wants out of the Enchante I took ownership of and now run. To protect Sohan Awaki's Enchante the way it is. How ironic. I wanted him to speak his mind more often, but the moment he starts doing that, I end up getting my feelings hurt. I thought that if I spoke up and asked that, I would get closer to Canis. I thought we could understand each other. Better if we spoke our minds honestly, regardless of being human or non-human. Canis's words are painful to hear. I feel a hot tear fall upon my cheek, and I mean, I guess you could also look at it like maybe she's like, but it bothers you. He's like, maybe she wants it to bother him, but it doesn't. So maybe she's reading into it. I mean, that could be it too. It could either be, you're in denial, it does bother you, but you don't want to admit that it bothers you, and you're pushing us away. Or we are like, oh my god, it must totally bother you. And he's like, no, this is my job. And we want it to bother him so that it feels less horrifying to us. You know what I mean? Because she was like a little shocked. I mean, she wasn't like overreacting about it, thank God. But, it was like, shocked. Why would Kenny? He's so nice. Why would he do that? Oh, and it doesn't bother you? You know what I mean? Where he knows enough, like, yeah, that's going to be, you're going to be upset because I'm not bothered by it, but I'm not bothered by it because it's my job and, like, our worlds are different, So it could be, like, multiple things, but at any rate, he's kind of rejecting us right now, but you were the one getting a little kind of romantic-y with us to begin with. So, like, the fuck buddy. We only have 2 more chapters. How are we going to, like... Anyway. I feel a hot tear fall upon my cheek. We read that. At the sight of me crying, Canis, emotionless, turns his back to me and walks away. Wow! Harsh! Harsh, bro. Harsh. Holy shit. I thought we were going to, like, walk away and just be like, fuck you, and just go back home, because that's what I would have done, but then he just walked away. Damn it! I cannot find the strength to wipe her tears. I turn my back against Spacey and keep walking. And then I eventually stop. The only sound I can make is my usual hollow breathing. I never wanted her to see me, and I never wanted her to know. She's been living a quiet, meaningful life. She's a gentle soul. I didn't want her to witness me doing what I must. My death-ridden duty. Which is true, you didn't want her to know about it, but she does. Are you worried that we're going to think differently of you? Like, now she's going to think I'm a monster, so I just kind of push her away so that... I mean, it could be that. I look up at the sound of shuffling bushes. Venia. I hate to say it, but I saw what just happened. It appears that she has witnessed everything. I know this isn't the best timing, but Her Highness has summoned you. Please follow me. Just like the first time he invited her to this world, Venia walks away before I can answer. As I follow behind Venia, the Queen's throne eventually appears. What's the matter, Canis? I thought you were spending the whole day with Spacey. No, I came here because I was told you summoned me. Oh, yes, that was a lie. What did you say? The Chancellor of the Fairy World speaks with no shame. Venia then turns to face Titania. Your Highness, the owner of Enchante witnessed Canis executing a fairy. What? Venia, there was no need for Titania to hear that. Venia did not even flinch from objection. He firmly faces forward towards Titania. Her childlike features distort as she speaks. I see. She saw you. He's been fulfilling his duties while having invited a foreign being, and this outcome should have been foreseen. However, I also bear some responsibility for not cautioning him while being aware of it. So, have you spoken with Spacey yet? Titania looks concerned. She too has become close with Spacey. She must be curious of how Spacey reacted, since she now knows of the fairy world's secrets. However, human logic does not apply here. Human lifestyles do not belong here. You and I, at the end of the day, have one single connection. Enchante. So, please do not interfere any further. At least, that is how Lord Soon was. I tried to say something, but in the end I simply could not. And as if she took notice of my suffering, Titania too did not speak any further. Again, this is the whole problem, is talking helps sometimes, so, just saying. Venia watches as we stand in silence, ever so calmly. So all you do is brood. If you disagree, change your perspective. If you're discontent, change your attitude. Why must you settle for normalcy? A cold rage. Wow, I can't read. There's a subtle tone of hatred as he speaks. You both know that the status quo will nor solve anything? Don't you? Brooding will not change the world. Brood all you want, but you're still required to kill fairies. Brooding won't bring freedom to my sister. She'll be eternally bound to a Gadrasil. Stop it, Venia. I am fully aware of that. However, this is a job I must do. If I don't do it, the fairy world itself will... And how much of yourself do you plan on devoting to this fairy world? By you killing your brethren, what has the world tree given you in return? In fact, all it's ever given you is pain and suffering. Like, Venia is about to burn the fucking world down. Just didn't see that one coming. Venia's like, fuck this shit and fuck everything. Like, cut the tree down. Let's burn this bitch. And then we'll go to the human world and we'll be fine. Like, Venia's got his bags packed. Jesus. And I've never asked for anything in return. I'm just doing what you must. I've heard this too many times. Let me put it this way. Canis, do you intend on continuing to kill fairies and visit Enchante as if nothing happened? And make contact with her with all of that fairy blood on your hands? I mean, it's my job.
Nia! How could you say such a thing?
I'm simply stating facts. However, you may never wash the guilt from your hands, but there is a way to prevent further stains. What? Canis, sister, do you remember what I had proposed to you nearly 100 years ago? 100 years ago? It does not immediately ring a bell, but... Titania, on the other hand, instantly grasps what Venia is hinting at and turns pale.
What? Why would you bring that up so suddenly? No, you must not!
How come?
How come? Have you forgotten the atrocity? Canis's predecessor, who once thought as you do, acted upon it, and you've seen with your own eyes what can happen, did you not?
Tried to chop down the tree. Memories suddenly flood my mind. Memories full of terrified screams. Memories of constant killing. Are those his predecessor's memories? Does he have them? I suppress these painful memories as if to crush them in my palms. I wholeheartedly disagree. The fairy of death before me, what she tried to do, must never be forgiven. It is true. Canis alone would not stand a chance. But it may be possible now. You've brought the solution to this fairy world. What?
Me? Great, I can chop down the tree. Oh, everyone can blow up the tree.
Are you trying to destroy the fairy world?
This just seems like...
Wow. Didn't think we were like literally going to burn the world down. Huh? Enchante's regulars, the strongest from their respective worlds. If we can use their powers, or perhaps... I'm curious exactly what they did, but I'm just assuming it's something about burning the damn tree down, but... Venia, do not tell me you are... The true reason why you started visiting Enchante was to... And that's right, to scout the potential talent of the Enchante regulars. However, even without me doing so, you know well enough how powerful they are, don't you? You have a point. I do trust them and I am aware of their powers. But... still I worry. I look up and trace the stems that bind Titania to the tree. The thread of this world tree may very well exceed their powers or imagination. So the world tree, they're like, oh, the world tree, we're terrified of the tree. Are they like afraid of the tree? Sounds like they're afraid of the tree. They're like, oh, we live a happy life and the world tree is, it's our tree. Don't say anything bad about the tree. Like, holy shit. As long as there is a chance of failure and the chance of inflicting casualties, I cannot and will not accept your proposal. I exclaim. Sure, I didn't really exclaim. It's hard to exclaim in his voice. As if to stop him, but... Oh, I exclaim. As if to stop him, but... Chance of failure? Casualties? Venia laughs at my objection. What of it? He explodes into utter rage. You are the victims! You're the victims strangled by this aggravating world! You're merely a puppet of the world tree, a subject of exploitation. How can you allow such cruelty? Why do you not try to escape this tragedy? Why must you stick to the status quo? I love Venia so much. And this could be our best and possibly last chance to change the world, considering the insignificant lives you've been destined to take. And that's right. Beings that exist at my sister's expense are all disposable lives.
Nia.
Hatred toward the world. Hatred toward the world tree. Hatred toward what gives his sister life. The emotions deep down inside of him convince him that the best path to take is the path that my predecessor once took, trying to destroy the tree, I guess, all in the name of escaping a cruel reality, no matter how many lives are at stake. Despite the sincere candidness, I can't do it. I cannot kill any more than I do now. I cannot allow myself to choose the path of numerous deaths.
Nia, that's enough. We fully understand how you feel. But please, don't go any further. Of course you're special to me, but all of the fairies that live in this world are all special to me too. I would never go as far as to step on them in order to gain freedom. Besides, I don't want to watch you and Candace argue like this.
Venia's sister and the queen, after seeing the World Tree Bride's tears. It was my fault for thinking I could count on you. And you call yourself a knight. You boast about protecting every day. But now, can't stand to look at you. Venia expresses contempt as he looks at his feet. I am unable to respond. I'm sorry. All I can do is muster an apology as I walk away. And perhaps Spacey, who I had rejected, she's probably overwhelmed by the same feeling of disappointment at this point. Yeah, well, I mean, you were acting all flirty with us and then you slapped us in the face, so...
Liberation from Yggdrasil. I would be lying if I said I never dreamt of it.
Sister.
However, I cannot shake this fear. If we were to act upon your proposal, how many fairies would we sacrifice? Is that an earthquake?
Oh, the tree's pissed! It heard you! Don't say bad things about the tree! I don't know. This is not ordinary.
Trouble! Big trouble! My queen! Venia! Near the trunk of Yggdrasil, deep down at the roots! There's a giant hole like we've never seen before! Hole? Could it be...
Is there a wormhole? But a wormhole so big it causes an earthquake has never occurred to Medeo. Sister!
My queen? Is the world tree?
Sister!
Oh, the earthquake stopped! Hey, is the queen okay? She fell asleep all of a sudden.
Oh, the tree killed her because it's pissed. That's why you don't talk bad about the tree. Don't talk shit about the tree! No need to worry. Please go check on the other fairies. If they are still confused, tell them that everything is okay now.
Understood. Please take care of the queen.
Sister. Yggdrasil, you've gone too far this time. You truly are my enemy. I love the fact that Venia's like fucking arch nemesis is a fucking tree. It's great. If you wish to kill my sister, We'll do whatever it takes. But I love Venia, and I love his motivation is just, I hate this fucking tree! Just has like a fucking rage hard on for a fucking tree, and I love it. It's just something I didn't see coming in this. 5 days have passed since that day. And okay. Venia just existing makes up for, like, the writers making her kind of stupid and not knowing he's the fairy of death and everything. Despite the fact being told multiple times. But just Venia being pissed off at the fucking tree, it's just erased all the anger I felt in the last part, because that's goddamn hilarious. Stupid tree kicks it. Ah! Splinter in my toe! That's what you get for kicking the tree. Don't kick the tree. Don't talk bad about the tree. Just, we love the tree. The tree's trying to kill us all. We hate the tree. Please take us away. Prisoners. I mean, Titania is literally a prisoner of the tree, which is creepy, but like, damn. Embarrassingly enough, I've been absent-minded ever since. It's absent-minded that you're going to call Kororo Kokoro? Because I feel like that's the translators here. You and I, at the end of the day, have one single connection. Enchante. So, please do not interfere any further. At least, that is how Lord Soan was. Can we not rehash the same thing 3 times? Canis' words cut deeper than anything I've ever heard. And Canis himself hasn't visited the cafe since. Even if he did visit, what sort of face should I make as I welcome him? Just a normal and welcome, thanks for coming. Just don't, no eye contact. Fake smile, welcome, thanks for coming. The separator between humans and non-humans, owner and customer, personal matters not meant for others. Spacey's my Enchante. Soan Awaki's Grandpa's Enchante. I haven't been able to get thoughts like these out of my head. Then one day... And then it was utter chaos, left and right. I thought I was a goner. You just can't get it into your head how stupid you are, huh? Well, no, because he's stupid, so... Hey, don't call me stupid. I may be a little guy, but I'm desperate, you know? Here's your iced coffee. And here's your soda refill, Ignis. Oh, thank you! I can't do Dromy's voice right now. I cannot, like, for the life of me do. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway. This motherfucker. Could you just go away until Ignis is out? Pain in my ass. Oh, well, it seems like little Dromy boy... Little Dromy boy. Little drummer boy. Sorry, that's his cute. Is managing to stay alive despite the constant trouble he gets into. The contradiction of his inability to fight is uncanny, isn't it? Perhaps he has regeneration powers of sorts. I get it. Should we try crushing him? Hey! Can you turn down that enthusiasm? You guys can be the worst sometimes, you know that? Miser, ill. I'll be taking this away. Oh, sure. Thanks. Hey, Miss Barkeep, aren't they terrible? You think I'm trying my best, right? Oh, yeah. Huh? That's it? Hey bro, what's up with the barkeep? Ever since we placed our order, well, more like ever since we walked in, she seems so distant. Hey, Spacey! With his chin resting in his palms, Ignis's fussy voice reaches me. What is it? Without looking in his direction, I respond with a tight voice. You're definitely avoiding us, aren't you? Like, deliberately trying to avoid talking. I get it, you probably got stuff going on, so we just ignored it for a while. But it's been going on for what, 5 days now? Okay, this is getting a little old, so I'm just gonna ask you directly. Is something going on with you and Canis? Why? I thought I was doing a decent job of hiding it, but I guess my poker face isn't the best. Also staring off into space and like... And that's our question. Ever since the shift in your attitude, Canis hasn't shown up once. What's more, you've been acting weird ever since you visited Medea with Canis. Anybody with a brain could figure out that's where it started. They're all like nervous sweating, like, are you dating him? That's weird. It's like, oh god, you and I, at the end of the day, have one single connection on Enchante, so please don't interfere any further. I mean, this is the 4th time we've read that. Look, for fuck's sake, game. We read it initially, and then he flashed back on it, we flashed back on it, and then we flashed back on it again. Can we stop? Pick something else. I just get tired of reading the same thing over and over, you know what I mean? Don't interfere with people's matters. Candace's words had cut incredibly deep, and I've been avoiding people because of it. But if it was so painful for Candace to talk about, the mere thought of it prevents me from talking about it with everyone. See? I knew it. It's written all over your face. So you just tell everyone, yes, we had a disagreement, and I don't want to talk about it, but it's been bothering me, but I'm not going to talk about it because he doesn't want me to talk about it, and, like, I don't want to talk to him, so. Do you want to talk about it? I mean, only if you want to. I would tell you fucking anything. Me. I don't want to talk about it! Miser, do you want to talk about it? Anything for you when you look at me like that with that goddamn face? Yes, anything? What? You'd be my therapist. Yeah, but then we're gonna have to have sex, and it's gonna be weird because you really shouldn't have sex with your therapist. But, like, whatever. I don't care. Let's break all the fucking rules, Miser. What? What? I love him. Okay, shut up. Dealing with it all on your own might be counterproductive, but we're all here to support you. Plus, your problem is Enchante's problem. Enchante's problem is our problem. There might be a way we can help, you know? In response to those kind words, well, I had no other choice but to explain everything that had happened. Huh. Like witnessing Candace murder a fairy, and hearing the things that Candace told me. After I share everything I had to share, straight up. We saw him kill a fairy. It's apparently his job. I thought he was upset by it. He basically told me off, and now we're not talking. I see. Well, this is definitely a sticky situation. Murdering fairies to protect the world, huh? I mean, weren't you watching it go down too? What exactly did you see? I didn't see anything special about the act itself, but considering what Candace said, the fairy world isn't exactly a peaceful world, and that much I can say. I also talked to Rindo about it, but it sounded like even the GPM doesn't have enough information about Medio. So at this point, we have no idea. And the Fairy Queen Titania probably knows something, but it is what it is. Simply asking her won't guarantee that she'll tell us. Then, just as the crew falls into silence, Karia takes the opportunity to speak up. Stray number 1. Hey guys. I think I know a little bit about that. Really? I think so. Let's see, where should I start? Then Karia begins to slowly talk as if he were trying to piece together his memories little by little. Remember the other day, I told you about this, Spacey, and that I was going to talk to my parents about myself. So just the other day, I finally got around to talking with my parents. Until then, I only told them that I have some mysterious powers, but the fact that I'd gone through ancestral relapse, I told them everything I knew. At first they were, as one would expect, very confused, but I shared with them the GPM documents and demonstrated my powers for them. Well, ultimately they believed me. So I proceeded to ask them about my roots. In other words, about my ancestors. And then my parents. Oh, they went out of their way to contact my biological parents who abandoned me and researched my family tree. Come to find out my grandmother's mother, my great-grandmother, was an oddball. My grandmother's already deceased, but her younger brother, my great-uncle, is still alive, so I went to visit him and learn more about my great-grandmother. And then, I've lived for roughly 300 years now. The reason why I live in the countryside is because the city just doesn't suit me. If I stayed there, I would die. I'm assuming this is his great-uncle. Apparently my great-grandmother always said such weird things as she laughed. Oh, maybe that's what the grandmother said? I don't know, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Is that what the great-grandmother used to say? He thought she was just joking, but because her stories were so intriguing, my great-uncle still remembers them. The most memorable of them all was the story of a distant, mysterious world. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom made from a giant tree. Life on this big tree was comfortable, and the residents lived there happily in peace. But one day, something had happened. Oh, she's one of the people from the prior... Oh. And the giant tree which provided benefits for the residents, and that tree began to assault the residents. The momentous assault saw no end, and too many people lost their lives. At that rate, the world itself would have fallen apart. And then the residents, in order to tame the tree's rage, decided to offer a bride to their god. And that's why Titania's strapped to the tree to appease the tree. Fuck you, tree! What a jerk! What a sexist prick this tree is. The effect was dramatic. Thanks to the bride devoting herself to the tree, peace returned to that world. And so the story goes. From those who don't know anything, Karia's story may sound like another fairy tale, but is that story about Medea? Most likely so. Karia's great-grandmother must have been the fairy that entered the human world. In that case, the giant tree that assaulted the residents must be referring to a Yggdrasil. Probably. By the way, who's this bride thing you're referring to? Oh, that's right. These guys weren't around to hear it when I was on my way home from the tea party. That's probably referring to Titania. Another name for the fairy queen is the World Tree Bride. I'm starting to see the big picture. And the threat Candace is referring to is probably something that the World Tree might do. And the fairy queen, Titania, or rather the World Tree Bride, is there to prevent it. A sacrifice. Right, in which case, I can understand why she would be bound to a Yggdrasil so adamantly. Except, I still don't see the connection between that and Candace killing fairies. Since this is a foreign world issue, I'm not too invested. But it sure does feel awfully ominous. More importantly, if that's true, then Candace... Since he knows about some imminent threat, you think he purposely pushed you away in order to not get you involved, Spacey? Maybe. If so, I'm even more curious now. I wonder how Candace felt, and what he was emotionally going through when he told me these things. Anyway, now that that's sorted, we have... Spacey, from this point forward, it's up to you. Huh? Up to me? As Candace pointed out, getting involved in a patron's private matter is not your job as the store owner. So on, it would never have gone that far. Unlike your predecessor, it's not bad to simply focus on welcoming him. In fact, that's precisely what Candace wants. Having said that, what do you want to do? In response to Miser's serious question, I need more time to... Oh, wait, hold on. Save. This is our first save point. I'm going to go down here. Wait, how many saves do we have for him? Just the one. Okay, so I don't think I really need to do too many saves. How many save slots do we have? I think we might be able to get away with just starting in the 90s. So we'll just save here. Okay, so I need more time to think. Thank you, everyone. I'll put some more thought into it about how I want to confront Candace. And to make a decision. I guess if we say I'm not going to go any further, we get the bad ending because we don't probably help, and then bad shit happens. Or like, that would be my guess, because it's obviously going to be a bad ending from that choice, so. 5 days prior to Spacey arriving to this resolution, after shoving Spacey away and arguing with Titania and Venia, it was my fault for thinking I could count on you. And you call yourself a knight. You boast about protecting every day. But now, can't stand to look at you. After Venia expressed his contempt and hostility toward me, I walked away. Without anywhere to go, I wound up in this place. And this is where Spacey and I became more open with one another. This is our first romantic moment. A sorrowful breath spills from my invisible mouth. I realize now how strange the fairy world is after spending time in the human world. From the far, visible horizon to this very spot, everything in between is a part of Yggdrasil. This tree is the cause of all suffering, and the cause of the rift between Spacey and I. So, like, burn the fucking tree down. I mean, like, think of how much wood, how many houses you could make out of that fucking tree. Then those houses would be evil. You know, evil houses where you're like, the house itself is just evil. It's not because it was made on an Indian burial ground. Maybe. Okay, but like, let's just say it wasn't. And it's not like, oh, there's so many murders and horrible things. Well, what makes a house evil? You built it from the wood from the world tree that was evil and like tethered a poor little fairy to it because it's a psycho tree. Don't build trees from Yggdrasil, I'm just saying. Distancing myself from her that day should have been the right choice. If she learns of my situation, I am sure she will be heard and try to help. As a result, this painful reality will cause more harm. Worst case scenario, her life will be in danger. It's a very real possibility. Oh, you loved us, so you pushed us away. I mean, we kind of knew that, but like, I was right. I was right to make that decision. Regardless of the fact that I can never go back to Enchante ever again, I have returned to my original self. I should just get over it. But why? Why does it hurt so much? I distance myself from her, yet I still want to see her. Oh, because you love us. That's so adorable. I have no idea where these emotions are coming from. Despite being faceless, I thought I was able to read my own emotions. The only thing that comes to mind is, I wonder if Spacey is doing alright. Yeah, we're with Miser now. I hope she's not forcing herself to carry heavy loads without any help. Okay, well. No, I got a wheelbarrow. I got a little red cart that I carry behind me. Like a little red wagon. I hope she is not tending to the garden all by herself again. It was your job, all the flowers are dead! I hope she's not forgetting to take breaks and not overworking herself. I hope she's not crying alone in her room because of what I said to her. Don't worry, Miser's really comforting us. I'm kidding, I know. The separator between humans and non-humans. I'm the one trying to break the separator by constantly thinking about her. How should I feel about fulfilling my duties going forward? I instinctively brace myself against the sudden quake. But before I can survey my surroundings, the quake quickly calms. The quake quickly calms? Really? Jesus! Sometimes the alliteration in this game is like, what was that? And what was that pulsing noise I heard earlier? So this is 5 days earlier, so this is probably the exact same time it happened with Venian. Okay. As I sit in my confusion, the fairies seem to be panicking as well. The tiny fairies are speeding their way toward the nexus of Yggdrasil, toward Titania. And the moment they seemingly reach the trunk of the tree, a portion of it transforms into an odd shape. Oh, that looks kind of... It wouldn't look as creepy if there was the stamen parts of it weren't dripping. Like, that's just a little grody. It swallows the tiny fairy's body whole. What? He's like, that's my job! Contrary to my surprise, the bizarre creature fuses itself back into the tree. The tree is pissed. At the sight of this, I feel as though all of the blood in my body has escaped. Impossible. I have no blood. I'm just kidding. My quota has already been... The necessary killing should have been completed already. But why... Why do you desire even more sustenance, Yggdrasil? Oh my god, so by killing fairies, it's not like, well, because fairies live forever and there'll be overpopulation, I have to kill them. Totally makes sense, right? But then it's like, I do it because I need to feed the tree. Ew. Feed me, Seymour. Gross. Bad tree. Smacks the tree. Oh, I got a blender. I'm assuming we're... Oh, yeah, because it's still blue. Okay. A quake strong enough to shake all of Medio, and Yggdrasil's devouring of fairies. Something is definitely happening.
This is why you don't talk in the middle of the goddamn tree about killing the goddamn tree, because the tree is now pissed.
Like, for God's sakes, people. Even as I run, I carefully keep an eye out for any other abnormalities, but so far, outside of the confusion among the fairies, there is nothing unusual.
I'm sorry, I'm yawning.
And by the time I rush over, an exhausted Titania is being nursed by Venia. Titania!
Canis, do not worry. I just feel a little weak.
It does feel a little awkward coming back after Venia told me he did not want to see me. But right now is not the time for more arguing. Venia silently reacts to my inquisitive look. Though it was only for a brief moment, it was reported that a hole-like structure opened near the trunk of the Yggdrasil. It was as if it was trying to gouge a piece of Yggdrasil. So that was the cause of the quake. And judging by Titania's condition, Yggdrasil tried to take Titania's life? Yes, the wounded world tree must have tried to heal its wounds by using Sister as a source of sustenance.
That also explains why it ate the other fairies. It's not like, okay, I need to heal my wounds, eat the fairies! I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like a metaphor for life, because I mean, like, oh, so, like, you die, and then you decay, or, okay, not humans, because we, like, embalm ourselves, or, like, whatever, but, like, just think of an animal that dies in the woods. It decomposes back into the earth, and then grows plants and trees and things like that, and then, like, you know what I mean? It's like the circle of life. The tree is basically doing that, like, I gave all the fairies life, and I will take it away to keep myself healthy so I can give more fairies life. The tree is just a dick. What are you doing? Did I scare you? Sorry. What you doing? You right? Good birdie. Anyway, you know what I mean? So, but the tree is still just a sentient dick, so.
Even if we try to convince Yggdrasil that the wormhole was a random occurrence, the world tree will never accept it. Yggdrasil will certainly think it, as it did 500 years ago, that it was a foreign attack. The same as 500 years ago. If so, what's bound to happen?
Do not worry about me. But the problem is what comes next. Best case scenario, I am the only one to have suffered any kind of injury.
He's like, actually, I saw the tree eat a fairy. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I tell them of what I saw earlier, and then the two of them grow pale.
The fairies were eaten by a Yggdrasil? Are you certain of this?
Yes, I am certain. If I recall correctly, you just gave an offering a week ago, right? Right. Normally, Yggdrasil would be satiated for at least a month with that offering. But it continued to feed, which can only mean one thing. It was insufficient. Perhaps that's the reason. Considering the aftermath of this, it only makes sense for Yggdrasil to consume more life. It was inefficient. It was not sufficient. It was insufficient. Wow, can't end with words. But, like, no, because that, you get it from the tree. Like, he's like, I foresee your death. You don't just like, you know what, you pissed me off today. You. The tree is like, that one. You know what I mean? Like, he foresees their death. He doesn't just like, oh, hey, I gotta kill someone. Hey, you just happened upon me, Ted. Sorry, it's time for you to die. It's more like, oh, fuck, Ted's gonna die, man. I don't want to do it, but okay. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the tree is what's probably giving him the, like, this is the fairy that will die now. You know what I mean? And then he goes and kills the fairy. So it can't be insufficient if the fucking tree is the one telling you. So it's not like, oh, but I gave it an offering and it didn't like it. It's not like, well, we pushed a virgin into the volcano, but she wasn't really a virgin, so the volcano's pissed because, like, there aren't any virgins on the fucking island right now. So, like, you know. If true, there's no avoiding it. What happened 500 years ago is about to happen again. Either we wait for Yggdrasil to be satisfied, or... I understand the meaning of his gaze. I shall bring death upon more fairies, as the fairy of death, and offer those lives to Yggdrasil. I understand.
Why? All we desire is a peaceful life. Yet, why must it be so difficult to achieve?
Is it the wormhole that gouged Yggdrasil, or Yggdrasil itself that we should fear? It might be better if the fucking wormhole ate the damn tree. Of course, Titania would go with it, but, I mean, you know. The tree would be gone! Maybe we could, like, cut her loose, I don't know. Or rather, the fate that caused these two events. I don't know the answer to that. Either way, what has already happened cannot be undone, sister. Disaster is imminent. It is unfortunate that today is the day the peace we thought we had has disappeared. Again, I feel like it's just convenient timing for you talking about taking down the tree and then the tree is now pissed and killing people. I'm just saying. Pardon me for a moment. Canis, can I leave my sister with you? I don't mind, but where are you going? I will inspect the damage Yggdrasil took. Verifying the damage is the only way to obtain accurate information. Please don't get eaten by the tree! Then I'll... Do not bother. Please look after my sister. Even though things have settled down now, I do not want her passing out again. Besides, you both should reconsider what our best plan of action is. I'm honestly, if it wasn't for Titania, fucking Venny would have been like, piece the fuck out of this shit! Probably would have left. I'm gonna live in the human world now. Sweetie, you'd make a fucking fortune at being a drag queen. I'm just saying.
No matter how much I sacrifice, no matter the weight of murder you carry, one single misfortune, a single wormhole can move the world tree to chaos, to feed on countless fairy brethren.
And once Venio walks away, Titania's voice loses some of its strength. As I recall the reason and the tragedy, I lower my head as I once did when I made that vow to her. The reason I was born was to protect this fairy world as a knight and to prevent possible tragedies. The words spell out naturally. I was born as the fairy of death to all living things on Medio.
Canis!
I do not know what to do now, but I know what I must do from now on. In order to restore peace to Medio, if Yggdrasil hungers for sustenance, I have no choice but to feed it.
I'm sorry. Had I been able to fulfill my duties as the fairy queen, as the world tree bride...
You have no need to apologize. It does not change what I must do. It is just as usual, and this is simply part of my daily routine. Yes, I feel like I've said something similar to her.
You say it's daily life, but why is it that you're in such pain?
No, I'm not in any pain.
Canis?
No, I'm okay. I will take action immediately. I will report back to you shortly. I exit the Nexus and am overwhelmed by the amount of blood-red foliage. Can you really do it? The leaves shuffling in the wind ask me. Those innocent fairies. And even more so, your own heart. Can you really do this? Stay focused, Canis Espada. I swing at the shadows formed by dawn and continue walking with my sword in hand. Do not think of it. Not now.
I killed Venia! The tree's fine! Damn it, Canis, no!
Do not give in to Spacey's kindness. The only time I should be thinking about her is when I'm at the cafe. For now, just focus on the task at hand. Right. Don't think about it. Once this is all over, I can take the time to determine whether I have the right to see her with all of this blood on my hands. Oh, stupid. If you come to us for help, we can blow up the goddamn tree. I'm just saying. That's where it's going to end up going, right? We're going to be like, it's okay, high five, we killed the tree. Anyway, this is the perfect place to stop. So, I will stop here and we will continue in the next part. I would say we probably have maybe like 2 more parts before we get our ending, so... Because I highly doubt we'll get our ending in the next part, but we might get through most of Chapter 3. 2, maybe 3 parts, I don't know. But we'll see. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.